Okay, so here we are in Logic with our Chic Forbidden Lover sample imported into Logic here now. The first thing I've got to mention here is that although we listened to this at a higher pitch and a faster tempo in the previous session using the CDJ, I haven't actually imported it into Logic like that. Now, the reason for that is that whilst the CDJ is very good for listening out for what might work, you'll find that if you import it into the sequencer at a higher pitch or the faster tempo or both, you've got no guarantees that the tempo that the CDJ is saying it is or the pitch that the CDJ says it's at is correct. And you'll find yourself, once it's in Logic, having to stretch and chop it up anyway to match with our drum beat. So because of that, it's just easier to import the original into Logic and then make any modifications you need while you're in Logic or obviously your own sequencer. So what I'll do is I'll just play this back now. We obviously don't want her singing there, so we'll just cut her out. I'll just open that up now. The first thing we need to do is we need to cut out and stretch to our working tempo. Now, for this project, I've chosen 128 BPM. French house usually ranges from around 125 to about 132, so I thought that 128 is middle ground, and I think it'll do for this track. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find our loop points in this, a place where we can continually loop over and over. So we'll just open that up a little bit more, and we'll just play that back and see if we can find them. There, that's where the loop starts again. So we'll just move that to there. To there. So just move that back there. What we'll do is we'll just zoom in and make sure we're pretty close to it there. About there, I'd say. And we'll just so that's about that. We'll just play that back now and see if that loops correctly. That's sounding pretty alright, that. I think what we'll do is we'll place cuts at either side now. So we'll just jump over here and just place a cut there. There. And we'll get rid of that. I'll get rid of that. Let's listen back to that again. Check that we're right. Now, the easiest thing to do there, and a mistake that a lot of practicing producers make when we're doing tracks like this, is basically you'd stretch that as it is. You just grab it there, obviously with hold down Alt in Logic and you just time stretch it. I think it's also Alt in Cubase. But basically you just time stretch that down and then you just play that back and cut it up when you need to. Now, that's the wrong way to approach it for two reasons. Firstly, attempting to time stretch a long piece of audio is going to result in more artifacts than if you time stretch smaller segments. But secondly, this record was written, I think, in 1980, 1979, 78, somewhere around there. I may be wrong, but it was the late 70s. I think it was 79, but forgive me if I'm out. But what it is because it was recorded back then, there are no sequences involved, and that means that our drummer here is going to be out of time. His kicks aren't going to land on every beat as they would with a sequencer. Now, what that means is that when we stretch this entire piece back and lay a kick on every beat in our sequencer, it's going to be out. I can guarantee you that the kick on this piece of audio here is going to be out. So when we lay our kick in the sequencer, the two are going to flam together, and it'll be out of phase, and it'll become more and more apparent as we work further and further into the arrangement. Now, of course, the easiest way to fix that, you could say, is, well, just move your kick in your sequencer to match the positioning of the kick in the track. But then you have to time in the hi-hats and any other parts, including a bass. And as the arrangement progresses, it starts to become incredibly convoluted. I wish I had time actually on this DVD to actually write and arrange this track with the phase problems on the kick, so you can actually see how it increases and how it gets worse and worse and worse the more you produce and arrange the track. It may only sound very slight when you do it this early in the stage, but believe me, as the track starts to build and go further and further, the flamming gets worse, the arrangement starts to fall apart around your ears, and you have to go back and start it all again. So what you have to do here basically is you have to cut it at every single beat and time stretch each beat individually. Now, it may seem like a longer way of working, but we're more accurate by doing it like this. So the first thing we need to do is find the first beat here, which is there. So all I do is bring that back. It's about there. So what we need to do is basically need to place a cut there. And then what we'll do, we'll bring this back, move it back to a bar. So we're actually starting on a bar. We can see what we're doing there. There we are. We'll just bring that back over. Now you can see where that should occur there. You should actually end there. So what we'll do is we'll time stretch this just to there. And there we go. And then we pull that one to that point there, and we find the next beat in it. Take that down a little bit so I can see what we're doing here. I'll turn that on so we can see a little bit better. Oops. There's the next kick there. What we do is we then take that one and we stretch that to there, and then we bring this one across, and that's going to be the next beat there. You can pretty much see that. So, and time stretch that one to there. And we see that the next beat's occurring there as well. So, cut that. Oops. There. Now it's sounding a little bit strange there, but that doesn't matter. We're going to get away with that, and I'll show you how later. Or at least I hope we're going to get away with that. I think we should. I don't think we'll have problems with it, but you generally can get away with it because we're really going to mess with this audio anyway. So the next kick is there. So we'll just place a cut there, and then we'll bring that one back to there. So it doesn't really matter about the quality of your time stretching algorithm here. It can be quite a rough algorithm. It needs to be. You'll see what I mean. As we progress, we'll actually hide how awful this sounds. Let's kick is there. I'll just stretch that one back to there. That's there. That's obviously the next kick there. So we'll cut that there. Stretch that to there. stretch that to there. And that's it, we're fully stretched. Now we've done it beat by beat, which means that what we can do is when we drop our kicks in here, we can make sure that our kick is occurring exactly in the same place as these kicks here. And if it's not, we can always move a little bit left and right, which we couldn't do if we took the entire sample. So let's just send that back to begin. We'll give that a quick listen. That's not sounding bad. I mean, it's sounding a little bit rough, of course, because we've time stretched it, but it is sounding okay. It's back up to our tempo now. It's sounding okay, that. Now, if you recall in the previous session, the first thing I said is that we need to take music out of context. So what we need to do basically is we need to do that here. We need to take this out of context. So let's... Well, that's not sounding bad there, actually. Can you hear that little bit of guitar? Just there. Can you hear that guitar, that little spine? There. I actually like that sound there. That's quite nice. Obviously we're going to have to use these, but I think what we can do is we can move them to there, so we're actually taking it out of context slightly, and we're playing the back end first and then the front end last. Yeah, I like that. Perhaps if we just I'm liking that. I like that effect there. We'll just try that. I do like those guitars there that are just occurring there, so I think we'll just cycle that. For that, I think what we can do is we can use the phase mistress. For phasing, there's only one effect that's worth using, and that's basically the phase mistress here. Now, this is part of the Sound Toys bundle. Yes, it's expensive, but then music production is an expensive hobby. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've had a number of comments on the forum and via email as well, basically about using cheaper, more affordable plugins. So I'm going to try and explain here. If you want to look good, you buy nice clothes. You want to drive in style, you buy a nice car. And if you want to make good music, you buy the right effects. And yes, unfortunately, they are expensive. But the thing is, if it's worth it, it costs. And that's a fact of life that can't be avoided. Now, I could easily sit here now and suggest some other plugins that could do this. But I'm not going to. Probably much to the disappointment of some of you. And that's because the whole purpose of these DVDs, the reason that I do them is to show you how to write music to professional standard. And I can't do that. I can't write a music to a professional standard if I'm using substandard plugins. It's just not going to work. Basically, what I'll do, we'll use this effect and you'll hear how good it is, and then I'll replace it with a slightly less quality effect, shall we say, and you can hear the difference and the reason that we have to use it. So then basically what we'll do, we'll just play this back. change this thing to Super 8 to do that. Now that's not sounding bad. What we can do is we can use that. We can modulate that in our arrangement. We can use some automation to move that around in our arrangement. So I quite like that. Now you can hear that. You can hear the quality there. Now what I'll do is I'll replace that now with, let's say, a slightly less quality unit. We use Logic Zone. I'm not saying that Logic's plugins are crap, but they're saying that great. These will slow these down a little so it doesn't go too wild. And I'll just turn that one off. Have a listen. Now, if you listen to that, I'm going to bypass that one and bring that one back in and compare it to this. Can you hear the difference in quality there? I mean, it's so apparent here on these monitors. The quality is just unsurpassable there. You listen to that and then compare it to that, and there's just no comparison. You can't get that type of sound there. You hear that? It almost sounds like a filter. You simply can't get that with that. It's just not there. So I hope that shows the difference in quality and why we have to use more expensive effects to get those results. Right, I think basically we've got what we want there. We've cut it up. We've time stretched it down, and we've taken it out of context a little there by taking that front and that back. I'll start that again. I might have a bit more of a fiddle with this, I think, actually, try and get a nicer kind of sound out of there. But I think basically we've cut that up and we've got what we wanted from that sheet sample, a very small segment. And what we've basically got to do is we've got to complete an entire arrangement using just this. So what I think we need to do is, since I think basically we need some vocals. We need to put some vocals in there because vocals are always fantastic for lengthening a track, so we can just drop them in here and there, little vocal snippets. So what I think what we'll do, we'll end this session here. I could do with a cup of coffee anyway, my throat's getting dry. And then we'll pick up in the next session and we'll see if we can sort some Vox out just for this track. Something that will go along with that, I think. And I might also have a bit of a play with this. But we'll see. We'll end this session here and then we'll move on to the next session and see if we can get some vocals.